Alrighty, y'all. Today I wanted to talk to you guys about my favorite axe. Alrighty, y'all. So what exactly are we working with here? This is a Snow and Neely 3.5 pound woodsman's axe. So there are quite a few things I like about this axe. The first thing that we'll start off with is the handle, and I'll set it back down there so you guys can see it. This is a 30-inch handle on a 3.5 pound head. So for those of you that don't know, a typical full-size felling axe is a 3.5 pound head on either a 36 or a 32-inch handle. So a 30-inch is a little bit shorter, but the advantage that it has is that it's a little bit easier to swing, both in terms of actually, physically swinging it. It doesn't take as much effort to move, and it's also a little bit easier to be accurate with. Another thing I like about it is the shape. I hope you guys can see the way it's shaped right there. It's got a nice curve to it. Not much, but just a little bit. I suppose it's mainly straight in the center, but it's got a nice curve there. Comes down to a really nice fawn's foot right there. I really like that handle. As you can see, they stamped Snow and Neely Smyrna. I'm assuming that's how you say it, Maine, as these axes are made in the USA by the Amish. And you can also see the palm swell. This is another thing I like about it. Some axes don't do this. Not only does it have a palm swell this way, but it also swells out sideways a little bit. And as you can see, this handle is not terribly thick. I actually really like the size of it. At least it fits my hands very well. And then the grain on it, pretty good. This handle originally had some lacquer or something on it, varnish something, which I really don't like that at all. I just take it off. Unless you're throwing your axe in a swamp every now and again, it doesn't really offer much advantage. Obviously, if you abuse your axe, if you leave it out in the rain, throw it in a swamp, the varnish is going to keep the moisture out. You put boiled linseed oil on these to help preserve it, but I would really just remove that lacquer. It'll give you blisters, and if you're using gloves, the axe feels slippery, like it's going to slide out. And if you're using your bare hands, like anytime you rub your handle down it, it just rubs the whole way. I just hate it. So I scraped that off just with the razor blade. Doesn't take too long. And now we'll get down to the head here. As you can see, they stamped Snow and Neely, USA. There we go. Snow and Neely, USA, Est 1864. At one point, Snow and Neely actually sold out to China, but recently the Amish bought them, came back. Now they're being made in the USA. The sheath is really nice on this. So here you go. It's got rivets on it along with some stitching. It doesn't have a welt in the middle, but I don't really care too much. It's not a $300 axe or anything. But the sheath also has some pretty thick leather, which I'm happy about. Here's a sheath from a marbles axe. This is the drawstring style. And I've never heard of anyone who says a drawstring sheath is their preferred kind of sheath. I personally don't like them. They just kind of get in the way. It's just not very nice. You can see it's decently thicker than the marbles. And this kind of leather is not cheap by any means. So really happy with the sheath, and I'm glad they included it. It's good to keep, your edge safe from cutting people or safe from getting damaged, because if you put a good fine edge on this, it can take damage fairly easily. And if you put all that effort into it, you don't want it taking damage. So we'll get down to the edge here. As with any axe, this is not really ready to use out of the box. I just took a file, set it down, flush to the eye, lifted up a little bit, brought it down all the way to the edge. You can use a Sharpie. That'll help you visualize it. After I did that, I just took a whetstone, put a micro bevel on there about 30 degrees. And yeah, this thing chops amazing. I absolutely love it. So also, the hang, we'll look at that real quick. They put a black paint on the top. I'm not sure why they did that, if they did that to cover up a hang or whatever, but they just used 2 round wedges. And personally, I don't think the hang is really bad, but it's probably not the best, because I was chopping into an applewood stump, and the head was getting kind of sticky in there, and I could see where the head was moving on the handle just a little bit. You know, if you stick this in a stump and hit the handle, the head pops out. You can't really feel it, but you can tell just a little bit. If you get this in a really sticky stump, at least last time I did, you could see where it was moving on the handle. And it seems like all my axes, except for the marbles that have had round wedges, have come loose, you know, to varying degrees. But it seems to me like they're thinking of round wedges as just being a way to cover up a bad hang, which, you know, that's not really the good way to do it. When I hang tools, I like to think of the wooden wedge as doing 90 to 95% of the work. And I use flat wedges just because that's traditional and that's what I have. And I think of the flat wedges doing like the last 5% of the work. So, you know, not a really big fan of the hang, but like I said, it's very minor. So overall, very happy with this axe. These use 1055 steel on this model, 1080 on the other models. Snow and Neely does not have an official website as they're used by the Amish, but that's just what I heard online for the steels. If I had to guess, the reason why they use 1055 on the big one instead of 1080 is that this is their biggest axe, so it's probably taking the most force to the edge. Maybe the 1080 would chip or something. I'm not sure. That would just be my guess. They also knocked the corners off, so if you wanted to pound felling wedges or something, that's an advantage because the corners will really tear out those wedges. But yeah, overall, that's an overview of my favorite axe. From the really nice handle to the head that's got good geometry once you put an edge on it. I suppose good geometry is relative. I haven't used it a whole heck of a lot. And I wouldn't say I'm super experienced or anything, but at least with this grind, I was chopping an elm tree the other day, just chopping right into the side of it. We had already felled it, but there was a decent amount left standing. So I was chopping it and it was penetrating pretty deep. I really like it. So thank you guys for watching. Feel free to check out some of my other videos. God bless, and see you on the next one.